Alright, so we're going to start the turn 1 of the 1939 setup using BBR rules, map, and victory objectives. We're using the anti-aircraft gun rule of mobile. So you can purchase a mobile anti-aircraft for 5 or a stationary anti-aircraft gun for 4. And then also the attack rules are in effect for the anti-aircraft guns, which means they can attack and defend. The chart here in front shows the starting IPCs. Germany's just slightly above Italy. That's disheartening if you're on the Axis side. So their goal is to rapidly advance up the chart there to gain some IPCs to work with. We've got the research at the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn these over, even though I know what they are, but it's just going to be easier to follow along what's happening with them turned over. Alright, so on the right, active again is the improved transports for Japan, super subs for Germany. Russia is the heavy tanks, US shipyards, and for Britain the super battleships. So for the first round they pay $4 to move one space. All the major powers have done that. They got one to start the game, and I suppose you could play it where they don't get that one since you're starting a turn earlier, but I'm going to keep the rules sort of as they are where I can for the BBR. I've not moved the marker down here to 1 yet. We'll do turn 39 and then we'll go to here and end at 8. I do want to point out a couple of changes that I'm pretty sure are coming in the next rule change on BBR. One being the heavy tanks. They used to attack, I think they attacked at 3 and defended at 4. Then they moved them to attack at 4, defend at 4, and I believe now they're going to go to attack at 4, defend at 3. So that's how we're going to play it in this game. The target select, the one thing that's changing there is that if an anti-aircraft gun is present, it negates the target select. So that is like a destroyer negating the target select or first strike capabilities of the sub. The anti-aircraft, I've got that card out because on the naval side, the battleships now have anti-aircraft capabilities. So one battleship would be the equivalent of 1 anti-aircraft gun. So if 4 planes are attacking it, they get to throw 3 dice at 1, just like a normal anti-aircraft gun would. So that also negates the target select in any sea zone with a battleship. We'll play those rules. We'll get set up here. Move over to Germany because they are first. And I'm going to need to find a spot where I can set that. I think I can set the dice tray at the top. Now, no matter how, I got to widen that. And as I'm widening it, I'm seeing my purchases. So let's take a peek at those first. So let's zoom in. The German purchases you can see for $10 because the 4 IPCs on the top shelf are the research buy. Russia's got quite a few. Britain has quite a few. Italy's got their basic 10. France, that's how often do you buy units for France? Almost never. You do here. The Anzac, Canada. There's Japan's buy, which is pretty small too. China, they're going to take advantage of having the Burma Road and all the infantry. So they bought 1 of their 2 tanks that they can buy during a game of BBR, and then 2 artillery. And then there's the US buy at $25, minus the 4 for research. and they will go up 10, and I'm going to have to look at the rules to see if it's at the end of this turn or at the beginning of the next. Let's back this up so we can see Germany and what they are going to do. I think I can put that dice chart there, right where, or dice tray up there where Scotland is. We'll be good with that, I believe. The political situation that is different for this setup. This is going to be loud. I'm going to dump the dice. The political setup, or political situation for Germany, the only thing that's really different, well, I guess there's a lot of things that are different considering their territories not being what they are in the 1940 game. But they are the only nation that is allowed to move through the Denmark Strait without owning both sides. So their navy can do that. Now, I know there's this canal in northern Germany that runs from, I think, Kiel, and I don't know what the city on the Atlantic side is, but it runs all the way over there. So their ships could go through there as well. But it's not on this map or really any map that I've seen. I think there is one map I've seen it on, but I can't remember which map it is now. The other thing, as far as the political situations, if you'll recall, you've got blocks of neutral, Sweden and Switzerland, Spain, Portugal. None of those are being attacked, but these other, they're basically pro-Allied neutrals: Poland, Belgium, Denmark, Norway, and then your Yugoslavia and Greece are the standard ones as well. So they've got their chips on there, and basically all infantry where there's just the chips. So they can attack these neutrals without incurring any neutral penalties, for attacking one of the neutral alliance blocks. So, with that in mind, I'm going to pause the camera and put out my markers for attacks, as they're going to have to gain some territory here in a quick fashion to get those IPCs up. And like I said, let me pause that camera and then we'll get back to it. Alright, so I've formulated my plan here. I'm going to hit, like I said, Germany's got to try and get some points here. So I'm going to hit Poland, Denmark, Norway, and Yugoslavia. I'm going to pass on Belgium here. I can take it with ease, but there is a really large French counterattack that I could lose, whatever forces are there. So I kind of want to prevent that. But I think I can get by with the others. Yugoslavia, the reason I'm going to hit Yugoslavia is because these are pro-Axis neutrals here. And honestly, you can walk into this one, but you can't blitz through and align two neutrals. You have to stop in that first neutral to activate it. So if I walk in one, I can drive a tank through Yugoslavia into Romania. So that way I'm going to collect all those IPCs when at the end of the turn, along with all those units, of course, as well. I could do the same for Bulgaria, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to need those tanks over for that battle in France. So I think we're just going to hit, and Yugoslavia has 5 guys, so we're going to come in with 5 guys, 2 artillery. We're going to throw some planes at it once I figure out my planes in the naval battle here. On this side, we're going to go after Poland. Now, Poland has 6 infantry, So we're going to bring in 6 infantry. I'm going to trade out this green chip for some artillery here. So 2 artillery are going in, and the other 2 are going to stay because I'm going to move them over towards Paris for that next battle. And we'll throw some planes in there. Denmark, we're just going to take our 2 mech and 3 tanks, and we'll be done with that. That's an easy one there. All right, so I should have broken down that artillery one more. Well, you know what? There's only 2 infantry in Norway. So if we commit a plane, so let's break down this another red chip, and we'll take 2 infantry on this transport and 2 on this. So we're sending 4 infantry into Norway, along with a bombardment from that cruiser and battleship, and obviously I'm going to throw a plane in there. So that left one infantry back here from that red chip. So I've got 6 infantry, 2 artillery that are going to head over here on the next turn so that they can get lined up for the Paris battle. All right. So Norway, Poland, Yugoslavia, Denmark's taken care of. Let's see what we need out here in the naval battle. We've got a super battleship and a cruise or a destroyer. There's only 1 fighter that can scramble, and England only has 2 fighters, 1 in Scotland and 1 in the United Kingdom. So there's no scrambling going on there. So we'll bring these 2 super subs because that's their tech, going up against the British tech of the super battleship. I've got this 3 here because I got to send a lot of planes here. These 2 super subs are just going to try and take that cruiser out. Since there's no destroyer, there can be no scramble, so I don't got to worry about that. So if I send 3 Stukas and 3 fighters, and I wouldn't target select. Well, I can't. The battleship has the anti-aircraft, therefore the target select is out of this battle. So they will just be rolling as 4s. So it's 3 3s, 3 4s. Well, 2 more 3s for the super subs and a 2. That should get the job done. Let's allocate a bomber up north. 1, 2, 3. He'll have 3 left. We're going to allocate a bomber to Poland, leaving 5 left. And really, I think I'm going to have to take one of these tanks up into Poland and send these 2 planes down to Yugoslavia. So 3 left on the fighter and 2 left on the Stuka. That's going to leave me a tank to blitz into Romania and 1 tank to come back. So I think that should get the job done. And I say should. We will see. All right, so we'll start with the naval battles. We've got 2 first strikes here because there's no destroyer. Super subs at 3, so 2 hits. So the British cruiser is out of the game without a shot. I like that. All right, so the next one, there's a destroyer there, so there's no first strikes, no target selects for the battleship. The anti-aircraft from the battleship has 3 1s, no hits. So I dodged that bullet. So we're going to have a 2 for the destroyer, 3 fighters, 2 subs, and 3 Stukas. And we're going to need 1 hit for the destroyer, but 3 for that super battleship. So I need 4 hits. 5 hits. So they're gone. Alright, so the British fire back and get 1 hit. So normally I would lose that sub, but because I didn't have enough money to buy another sub, there's a national objective with the BBR rules that if you have 5 German subs on the map, you get a $5 national objective. So it's kind of a no-brainer. You lose the destroyer, and you have your 5 subs for that objective, which I was not counting on having at this point. I figured I would lose more somewhere. Alright, so the next battle, the Amphib up here in Norway. There's 2 infantry defending Norway. So I've got 4 infantry at 1, a bomber at 4, and then I have a bomber, or not a bomber, but a battleship bombardment and a cruiser bombardment. So I just need 2 hits. 3 hits, alright. So far so good for the German advances. And Norway defends itself with nothing. Alright. Defender's not doing well today. Not at this point. Alright, that's a no battle because I'm not going to fool with Belgium. Poland. We've got 6 guys, 2 artillery, a tank, and a bomber. So that means we're going to have 4 of those at 2. 4 at 1. We got a 4 and a 3. And kind of the reason why I brought that other tank in is because in BBR, if you'll recall, the heavy bomber or the strategic bombers only fight in the first round of combat. So they will be done after this round. Alright, so they got 3 hits. So that means 3 of the 6 Polish infantry are gone. Poland will fire back and gets 2 hits. Alright. So there's going to be 3 Polish left. And Germany goes down 2 infantry. Alright, so the bomber's done. So we'll take that dice out. So we got 4, 3, and 3. We need 3 hits, and we get 4. So far, so good. Poland defends. 2 more. Alright, well, Poland put up a pretty stiff defense there. Managed to take out 4 German infantry. So that's pretty good, 4 for 6, I reckon. Alright, Yugoslavia is the last battle, I believe. Oh, well, Denmark. Alright, Yugoslavia. I've got 2 artillery. So I got 3 infantry at 1. I have a 3, and I will not be using target select because I need that as a 4. 4 hits. Yugoslavia has 5 troops, so they have 1 left. They fire and get 1. Alright, so I'm going to take a dice out of that German, that black dice out. 2 hits. Alright, so they got that last guy. And he rolls and gets nothing, so that red ship needs to go to a green, and then I'll need to place infantry on top of it, which I was not prepared for. Alright. So that means, oh, Denmark, the last battle. So I got 2 mechs and 3 tanks. 1 hit, which is all I needed. Denmark rolls out hits. Alright, one of those mechs bites the dust. right, so 2 battles went really well. One of them was kind of harsh, I guess. I mean, they lost 4 infantry, but that's okay. All right, so that is it for that. Russia will not be at war, so there won't be any shenanigans going on there. All right, do I have something? I do. All right, so he'll march in there, and I'll convert those to Germans between the turns. This tank will go 1, 2. I'll convert that. Now, I could go into Bulgaria and get those 4 guys, but I think I'm going to need that tank because I've only got these 3 tanks in Denmark along with all these troops that are heading back. So I will have, that's 6, 7, 8 infantry, 2 artillery, plus the 3 units I bought. We're going to move these anti-aircraft guns up. I'm going to leave that one, that's the mobile anti-aircraft, we're going to leave that there for now. All these planes will land back in Western Germany where that air base is. I got this sub come out here. Bomber comes back, bomber comes back. I didn't really have money to buy a bunch of infantry to use those bombers to move paratroopers, because I had to spend $4 on the next set of technology. But even if I didn't, that $4 wasn't going to help anyway. Alright, so let's move this tank back here into Western Germany. France may bug out. I mean, they'll have to make a decision when it's their turn. So Germany will go up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 13, 15. So Germany's going to go up 15. So they've doubled their income just on that first turn. Plus they'll get the Norway, Denmark national objective and the 5 subs on the map. So they're looking good for the next round. But Paris is the objective of the next turn. All right, so Russia. Oh, I'm put out the German units, all 3 of them, which is an artillery and 2 infantry. So there's your assault on Paris. These 3 tanks and mech can come down and go through there, and we'll see how that plays out. So Russia is not at war. They do, however, have a special, let me look at their political situation, is on turn 1 only, Russia is given the option of attacking or annexing any of these territories. And that's the red dice, or red dots that you see. Now, they can annex the Baltic states because no one's there, but Poland with 2 infantry and Vyborg with 2 have to be attacked. Vyborg is not worth anything. Is it worth going in there to kill those 2 guys? I mean, I suppose it would be, just because Germany can march into Finland and then march in there and claim those 2 guys. So yeah, I guess they have to attack that. So the Russians will counterattack. They've got a heavy tank here. Infantry, artillery, fighter. They don't need much. They'll do a walk-on here, and same thing down in Brezabria. And here we've got 2 infantry, artillery, and a tactical. And I could use this bomber. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I might as well get him in there. And really that's all that's going on. They're not declaring war on Japan, although on the eastern Far East there, Soviet Far East, they've got a lot in Amur, so Japan's going to have to keep an eye on that. Alright, so I'll put that dice tray back there. I thought I was done with it. So up here in Vyborg, the Russians will have 2 2s, a 3, and a 4. 2 hits is what they got, 2 hits is what they need. Alright, finish, troops. What do you do? Nothing. That's not like the real war. The real war, those Russians would have lost everything but the airplane. Alright, so Eastern Poland. 1 infantry by itself. Infantry, artillery pair, tactical, and a bomber. Now the tactical is going to attack at 3 no matter what, so we might as well do a target select. And it misses. Alright. 2 hits. So Poland is cleared. Poland gets 1 hit back. Alright. So let's take 1 ship off for the Russians. Alright, so the Russians, they go up nothing there, 1, 2, and nothing there. So Russians go up 2. But they gain their border territories to keep the Germans further away. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to bring our planes back up to here because there's an air base. Those units are in Vyborg. I can take that marker off now. I'll leave that one on because I got to move the income tracker, but not for those 2. Alright, so I'm going to leave some troops down here to go into Axis, Persia, whenever they get at war with Germany. Otherwise, these guys, oh, I forgot, there's a railroad. One of the things on this setup is there's no factory here in the Ukraine. I thought that was interesting. I mean, that's good for the Germans and not, or I mean, good for the Russians as opposed to the Germans taking it. But you know, for Russia building, you know, everything's further back. But in the BBR, they do have railroads, so 2 units can move 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. We'll just put them up there for now, and we'll rail these up to here. And the anti-aircraft gun as well, because we can rail 3. Bomber will head back. The ships will maintain their spots. On the far east, I know it's not in the view. Well, let me just place those Russian troops, and then I'll move the camera and show you what's going on there. Alright, so we're going to place in Leningrad 1 infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 heavy tank. Russia gets 2 infantry and a heavy tank. So now I can move those with that bomber as a troop transport if I want, or I can rail them. And I'm going to put, well, you know what, I'm just going to put them all there for now. That way I can make full use of that railroad. And let me turn the camera over here so we can see the Soviet Far East. You can see they've got quite a bit of troops up there. And I'm not going to stay on the front lines so as to provoke Japan into attacking. So we'll back our units up here into Shaka. We'll leave 1 guy. These 2 will head over here. Well, you know what? I probably need to leave some of those guys on that railroad. This is more than enough for now, I think. He'll move up 1, move up, and we will railroad 1 of these troops in Novobrinsk back to Moscow, so that we can start defending on that, because they're pretty weak on that side. Slide him in there. It's not worth any points. We will not defend it. Alright, so, and if you'll notice that the order of play is different as well. I have all the buys in the order of play. So Britain will be next, followed by Italy, then France. They'll get to place units and decide if they're going to attack. Anzac, Canada, then Japan, followed by China, USA. Then we'll be on to turn 2. So I will set up the British move and come back and we'll do that one. So Britain kind of being in a little bit of a spot here. They don't have a destroyer. The only territory the bomber can reach of Germany to attack, well, that whole map slid, that wasn't good, would be Western Germany. And it's full of fighters, so that won't be a good idea. So I think it's just a positional move, stuff around the board. Italy is neutral, so the Allies cannot attack Italy until round 3 unless Italy declares war, which, you know, they haven't even had their turn yet. So they're set up to do some action, so Britain's pretty much on the defensive this round. One thing that they can do is the Belgian Congo there. That is part of Belgium, so it's a pro-Allies neutral, so they can move in and claim that $1 and 1 infantry. What that effectively does, though, is the railroad there in South Africa is useless this turn, because you can't railroad on non-com, because that's a non-com move. You can't railroad through territory you just acquired. So the good news is that tank and mech can drive up to the Belgian Congo and get prepared for those Italians there on the East Africa. They will, however, do one combat on this side of the board, and that is take out that undefended pro-Axis East Persia. They will not declare war on Japan, because that would be foolish at this point. So, like I said, it'll just be about moving stuff around and placing units. So let me back up over here and see if I can get Britain, you know, pretty much spans the whole stinking globe here. I still can't get everything in there. Alright, at least we can see this side of the world, and then we'll just move the camera a couple more times. So we're gonna run, you know, 1, 2, and I don't want to sit here, because that's only 2 away for these 2 super subs. And granted, there'll be a decent amount of ships there, but there's no destroyer. I guess this French destroyer can come over and help. That might be what to do. I'll put that French destroyer there. So then, I don't want to weaken Europe or London, but I am going to pull these 2 units down, because I'm placing more there. And honestly, I can't believe Germany would make a London assault. Actually, they probably couldn't, because 1, 2, 3, 4, they would have had to have Belgium for the planes to land. So they're safe for a turn. So we'll slide these guys down. Leave the bomber there for now. We'll bring this fighter over here to the carrier, because we got to protect what little fleet they have. Two cruisers and a carrier, and 1 transport there. Now on this other side, move the camera over here so you can see Africa and what's going on there. They do have a transport here. They'll move over so that next turn they can grab some stuff. I don't need that marker there. It already has one on the territory. They'll just drive up. Alright, so these guys, we got to get ready for a possible Italian assault. So bring all these guys in, and that looks like that'll be it for there. I think what I'm going to do with France is move these ships over here and kind of protect that if Italy doesn't attack. I can't believe Italy would attack that. Well, you know what, that might not be a bad idea. For this game, Italy won't attack. I'll just make that decision now. But I can see where it might be. You know what? Italy might attack. I got to play it like if someone else was playing it, that they might attack those ships there. Now with those gone, there's no real reason for Italy to get into this game just yet. And then on the Far East side here, which is still Britain, because there's no Far East command in this game, we're basically going to move. Well, they don't even have a transport over here. That's a stinker, and I didn't buy one. Oh, because, you know, come over and snag some of these islands. So I'm going to have to put in a note to myself to buy a transport next turn. Missed that one. Alright, so we're going to move that up, and we're just going to sit and wait. Might as well move all those guys up. Not that anything is going to happen, but it's just good to go. Alright, that'll be it for Britain. I will place their units. I bought four infantry for Calcutta and a tank and a mech down here for South Africa. And then up in London, I've got 3 infantry and a oh, I thought I had a destroyer. I may have not gotten that destroyer out of the box. I have to do some math. Oh, looks like the battery's running low. I'm going to have to change battery and do Italy next. Alright, so Italy's not declaring war, which I think is a good thing, because France could really do some damage to Italy, because I got, you know, Paris is going to fall. The decision for France is, do you try and save some units, pull them around the board, which I think is probably the right play. You know, probably send those planes up to London, you know, for some defense, and then just survive in the France area as long as you can. Move some pieces to Africa to fight, you know, a little bit longer in the war than normal. I think that's going to be France's goal. So Italy not declaring war. This bomber is going to transport 2 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and land back at the airbase. So break that chip up. I'll leave 1 there. And I'll move 2 grays down to Tobruk. Alright, so now we're starting to get some things going down here. In Italian Somaliland, we'll move that mech up 1. All these ships are going to come over into 1 sea zone to prevent any shenanigans. The transport is going to take, oh, you know what? Oh, I can put that under there. So one of these artilleries, I'll leave 1 there, and then 1 infantry. So Albania's got a decent force if I decide to attack Greece next turn. Alright, so that is pretty much their move. We'll move this plane down. They go before France, so they can shuffle some stuff around. Place their fighter, that's all they had. No national objectives. $10 for the next turn spin. So now France, on the other hand, is going to start shifting forces. You know, the usual there, but we've got more to work with here in North Africa. I'm going to have to back this up a little. So now you can see all of that. So we're going to make Algeria the tough spot, I believe. This transport here is going to bring, we're going to have to send everything into there. We'll send them into Morocco. I was thinking I might send that down there, but that sure could be picked off for Italy if they decide to declare war next turn. So we'll just join forces here, and this transport bring that destroyer and that guy down to Gibraltar. Alright, so I kind of want to split those planes up for France. Send one to England and send one down to Algeria. And France is actually going to have an attacking force in North Africa instead of just the handful of guys that always just defend. He'll head up here. So let's move our artillery out because they just attack. Let's break down that anti-aircraft. I gotta believe the tanks can just stay there. I mean, what's the difference? We're going to place 3 units in Paris and 3 there in Normandy. I'm going to need to get an anti-aircraft gun for that. And that will be the end of the French turn. So here's 3 more infantry. And then there's 2 infantry and an artillery. Alright, that is, oh, one more move for that French sub. Didn't see they had a sub down there. And I will say that I got a tip today from Moffet Field, and he said, hey, don't forget, there's a British destroyer in Somalia. And I did forget to move it, so I'm going to move it now. And they conveniently put a naval base there, so we can go 1, 2, 3 over here to aid in the Anzac defense. So I forgot it, and then I remembered it. So thanks for the tip. Alright, France is done. Anzac in Canada. Anzac does not start with a transport. That is disheartening. I did buy one though, so we'll just move this fighter over here. Move all our ships up there. Slide these infantry over. The tank and the artillery. And that will be it for the Anzac. Canada is pretty much the same. They are just going to move a transport destroyer, 2 guys. Oh, they have a fighter too. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not on the air base, so I can't make it anywhere. Alright, so but you know what? Oh, Canada does get a bonus if I land the troops in Morocco. That'll get them their $3 national objective. Alright, well, I will do that. Canada's only buy is a transport. And I'll put those out, and we will come back for Japan's turn, which will be just dealing with China, I believe. Alright, here is the situation for Japan. I don't remember if I did the political situation for Italy. They start the game neutral. They can attack or declare war on the Allies at any time, but on turn 3 the Allies can declare war on them. So no matter what they're in, the war on turn 3 at the latest. So they do have some options to do some things if they want to declare war on turn 1 or 2. But on to Japan, and they have a lot of options. I'm going to stick with China right now. So let's move 1 infantry in and fighter and attack. And we've got coming down 2 infantry and an artillery, and then all of those, so that's going to be 2 artillery, 5, let's make it 6, 7, 8. 8 infantry, 2 artillery. We've got 2 fighters, 2 tanks from Japan. They'll have 1 left. We got this guy coming from Okinawa. He has 2 left. Another fighter, another tank from Manchuria. They have 2 left. These 2 guys, 2 artillery, are hitting Guangxi along with that fighter. I've got 1 left from something. 1. Oh. I'm going to move that whole carrier because they're going to have to land on that carrier in Formosa. Alright, so going into Guangxi, these coming off of a carrier. We're going to bring the battleship and cruiser over for a bombard, which, you know, it's going to be massively overkill here because I got to get to Yunnan and cut that Burma Road as fast as I can. Because China's they're gonna dwarf out of control here in a second, I think. So I've got 2 bombers that will have to land back here in Kiansu, well, where Shanghai is. So I'm gonna put them there now. They're bringing down 4 infantry. I'm bringing a total of 6 because I have 2 transports. Now they're improved transports, so they can bring 1 infantry and 2 other units with each one. So that's your 6 infantry, 4 on the transports, and 4 on the 4 on the air transports being parachuted in, and 2 on the naval transports. And then here's the other 4 units for the naval transports. And hopefully that can survive the counterattack. Let me see if I've got anything else. I've got 2 planes on the carrier that I could throw into a battle, but it's mostly overkill anyway. The other thing we're doing is we're driving down here a tank and a mech. So it's overkill by far on all 3 of those battles. This one is the only one that's iffy. So I will roll. Where's the dice tray? Japan has no special political situations that are out of the ordinary, so there's nothing for that. Let's just roll. We're going to roll a tactical first strike or target select I should say, in Charhar. Misses, so I've got a 3 and a 1. No hits. China fires back. Of course. China misses. Alright, I guess I'm ready to roll them all together. Oh, wait a minute. No, I've got another 3 for that tactical because it gets to fire regular now. Alright, so 1 and 1. So China and Japan each lose it. So China keeps the territory but loses the guy. Alright, so in Anhui, I've got 1, 2, 3. 3 target selects. Let's see if we get those. We get 2 of them. And I'm just going to roll for that 1 infantry because he is going to be killed and he gets nothing. Alright. The next one down here, I can't see the name, Guangxi. They're kind of, a lot of the names are similar along the coast there. Alright, I have 1 tactical for a target select, so 1 of those infantry is gone. So now I've got a 2 3s for the fighter, and then I should have 4 2s. And there is no bombardment there because there was no naval amphibious assault. So there's plenty of hits. China fires back, gets nothing. Alright. The final one, I have 1 tactical bomber for a target select, so it hits. So there's 1 Chinese infantry there. And I'm pretty sure I can get that. I got a tank and a fighter. 1 hit, and I got it. Alright, so China defends itself. Damn it. I got a chip. I'm not a big fan of chipping. But, you know, that's what happens when you take casualties. Alright, so that leaves 5 guys instead of the 6 that were there. Alright, so Japan does not go up for that one. They do, however, go up 1, 2, 3. So Japan goes up 3, China goes down 3. Alright, so the rest of the movement. Let's see, we were going to head this carrier down here to collect these 2 planes. I assume that's in the viewfinder, but I'm not sure. I'll move a sub, a destroyer down there. This plane or carrier has to come here. Plane will land there. Alright, they're in that territory. All these guys. Alright, so what is that? There's 6, so there'll be 8 infantry, 2 artillery, a mech, and a tank. That should ward off any, and then I'm going to drive down this mobile anti-aircraft gun. So that worked out nicely. Those planes have to land there. These 2 can come back to Manchuria. They'll land there. They'll land in J-Hole. Let's take that off. Cavalry can only go to there, so we're safe there. Alright, so I'm going to bring this transport up. That cruiser, let's just say, oh, I got a cruiser down there, 2 destroyers. We're going to send the sub down here. Head those over there. I'd move some more ships and those planes and the Marshalls over to the Carolinas. And that, just for grins, we'll put them with the carrier. All right, so move the artillery out to Korea. Drive this truck over there. Looking a little thin up here. Russia might be able to take advantage of that. And that looks like that will be it. So they'll Japan goes up to 27, and they'll collect a $10 national objective for not being at war with the U.S. They're placing a factory in Kiangsu, Shanghai there, infantry, artillery. All right. That looks like it for Japan. China now has to think about its counterattack. They can throw 5 guys and a plane into here. That is not a good attack. 2 guys in a plane there. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, artillery, 3 cavalry. They could really make a dent in that stack at Anhui. So let's give that a shot. So there's 1 artillery, all those guys, and let's throw in those nifty cavalry that came up from Atlanta. Oh yeah, and the fighter. All right, so that attack is going to have 2 at 2 for the artillery, infantry. You got a fighter, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ones. That does not seem like a very large attack possibility, but that's what China gets. Oh, but they got the cavalry. 3 at 2 for the cavalry. There we go. Now it's starting to look a little better. Alright. Oh, my. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang. So 6 of the 8 infantry bite the dust. I thought Japan had enough in there. Oh, I did forget to roll my anti-aircraft gun. Let's see if that plane goes down. Nope. Alright, well, all that for naught. So that means I'm going to lose that and keep a guy. So 1 mobile anti-aircraft gun down. First one in the game, really didn't do anything. Alright, so they would have had 8 at 2 for the infantry. So I will roll that twice. 8, 9, 10, 11. So here's 5. Here's 5. Gets 1. The next 5 gets 1. Oh, crap. Alright, so now I have a tank. So that's a total of 3. 3 Chinese infantry. Alright, so huge dent. Do they... Oh, I got a mech. Forgot to count that mech on the Japan side for nothing. Alright. Do they continue? 2, 5 5s, a 3, 2 1s. Alright, I'll go 1 more round, see what happens. 3. That's more realistic. So 3 Japanese infantry down. So that'll be 3, 6 total on the 2s. A 3 for the tank. 2. Alright. Can they finish them off? Well, if they do, Japan is a hurting unit. Alright, so they got 3, 4, 5, and they do no more 1s. 2 hits. So that'll be 1 mech and 1 artillery. 2 back. Alright, so now they're pretty much going to have to call that off, I think, because if they take the 2 cavalry, That's what would be left. So it's still 3 2s and a 3, so I guess they should stick in there. 2 hits. All right. Japan is wiped out. Takes another one with it. So we'll lose that cavalry because the cavalry defend at 1. So that is there. And that is painful for Japan. But on the good side for China, that sure takes a lot of pressure off. We're going to land that plane back there. So it went 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide up, slide up. Alright, so we're going to move one of those into Hunan and slide all those up there. And for our counterattack, you know what? China's not looking too exciting now. Well, that's the price for taking out all those Japanese, I guess. Alright, so that is their purchase. They got theirs on the board. They did gain $1. Let me make that adjustment before I continue on. So they're up to $12 with their national objective for having the Burma Road open. The U.S., there's not a lot happening here with the U.S. on turn 1. So take a peek here at this side of the board. Pretty much, we're just going to move the fleet here because I don't believe Japan's going to do anything anyway. Alright, bring those guys down along with the fighter that was there. That's pretty much it there. Might as well put out the units, which was going to be a sub, 2 infantry. The other side of the board, nothing's going to happen other than I'm placing a infantry and a destroyer, and the U.S. income will go up by 10. So let's move that up now. So it goes up to 35. No NOs because they're not at war. And at the end of the turn, there is the income tracker. I'll take a look at that. And those are the NO cards that were collected on round 1. Whoops, I forgot about the Japan not at war with the United States. Alright, so there you go. Got a glare there. Let me move it over here. There you go. Now you can read them if you need to. Alright, that's the end of turn 1. I will be back with turn 2 coming up shortly.